Everybody, welcome back. I'm Yumble, and this is your city. I know it doesn't look like your city, but it definitely is your city. You're going to have to trust me on this one. Now, your city is actually encircled by a ring road. Today, I want to talk about ring roads, what they are, why they work, and how you can use them in city skylines to improve your vehicular traffic. I think a good place to start with the ring road is knowing what I'm talking about, or what I mean when I say ring road. It's actually a bunch of different things that are used in different places and called different things, just to add to the confusion. So to simplify things, I'm only going to be calling it a ring road for the purpose of this video, but other people may know it as a circular road, a belt line, beltway, circumferential highway, a loop, a bypass, or an orbital. And this may depend on the way that it's built or the place that it's built in, as different places have different nomenclature for certain things. But what I'm really talking about is illustrated beautifully in this picture right here. Let's see what that looks like zoomed in. This happens to be the inner ring of Sheffield in England, United Kingdom. So exactly the perfect starting point. The city, in this case, lies within a system of roads outside of the city, acting as effectively a bypass and a place to aggregate all of these other presumably highways and freeways or other roads in general just coming in. So in this situation, and in most situations, the ring road is to catch the traffic before it hits the city center, which is where there's probably going to be high traffic anyway. Even pedestrian, bicycle, transit traffic, there's going to be a lot of density in traffic here. So this acts as a magnet to catch all that traffic and distribute it around that dense city core so that vehicles don't have to drive right through the center, which ruins the experience for everyone. So now that I've got you watching a video about freeways, I can't think of a better country to highlight use of freeways, nor can I think of a place with more cars offhand. So I'm going to start at home for me. This is the United States, right? That's Grant County, Wisconsin right there specifically, but that's not where we're going. We're going to zoom in on the eastern part of the United States just so we can see the road map, see some highways, and you'll notice Indianapolis has a ring around it, St. Louis, Louisville, right? Eastern Seaboard is covered in ring roads, covered in cities with bypasses, Richmond, Washington, Baltimore, Philly. So all these places have a highway that goes around the outside. I'm going to start truly at home for me. I live just west of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia, but the D.C. Beltway is something I'm very familiar with. So 495 is a ring road that connects 95 and a series of other roads to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area here. So I wish the highway were a bit more visible here. Maybe there's something I can do. That's a bit better, right? A bit brighter, but a bit better. So this 495 interstate that goes around the outside is illustrating exactly what's going on here. And of course, we're doing it in U.S. fashion in this case. This is true. This is some true Americana where the highways actually continue across the freeway, the ring road, the beltway, into the city. I have mixed feelings about that, but I do like the fact that that 495 exists and gets traffic around the city so that you don't have to just drive through the center of the city to get across. Just so Europe doesn't feel left out, I'd be totally wrong to not point out that the term ring road is more a European thing than a US thing. So we'll call it a beltway or a bypass or what have you, but the term ring road is more of a European thing. And you will see that all over the place. You'll see concentric ring. You'll see London encircled there. There's some concentric ring roads going on as well. Paris has a web going out around it. I've heard that traffic is pretty bad in Paris, but it's not unique to Paris, as all of these places seem to have rings and bypasses. Brussels as we go north. And of course, we're going to land on Amsterdam. Amsterdam is not known for its car centricity or car-centric planning. To the contrary, it's known as a place where cars are I don't want to say disallowed, but they are, maybe in some places they are disallowed, but it's certainly not encouraged. You're meant to leave your car in favor of walking and biking. And that's a beautiful thing in modern urbanism, and Amsterdam seems to be a shining example of that. I hear no lack of praise sung for what Amsterdam has done. They also have a ring road. So I don't want to pigeonhole this concept as a car-centric nightmare, because it doesn't have to be that. It can be a way to maintain connectivity within the city and to the road network leading in and out of the city. But mainly it's to keep cars away from the city center in all cases. And I love the way Amsterdam did it. I do a lot with interchanges, so this is actually a clinic on partial cloverleafs, a T intersection there. Another T, like beautiful, beautiful stuff. A whole plate of spaghetti next to the airport. All beautiful. Clover stack, like I can go all day. Bypass roundabout, just beautiful stuff. But what I especially like about the way Amsterdam did it is you'll notice the major routes actually terminate at the Beltway. So starting where I started before with this, I'm going to call it a T interchange. Rather than having this, I don't really know the road naming system, but it looks like E231 or A1. I mean, correct me in the comments. Educate me a little, because I didn't really do my research before this. But I love that the highway terminates at the ring road. And what that tells the driver is, hey, make a decision. If you're trying to get into town, decide where you're going to go, because you have to go left or right. And at that point, you're allowed to go around. And if you want to be in the northeast corner up here, Amsterdam Nord, your interchange is over here. So that means you're not driving through the city center from here, as in many American cities. So as much as I like the way that we do beltways, etc. in the US, bypasses, I think that this checks more boxes for me overall. You'll notice there are some exceptions where in maybe less dense areas or more outskirts areas, there are roads that come in, but those roads tend to taper off before they hit the proper, like, Old Town, right? Same thing over here. You've got this system interchange, which really disallows traffic from going directly to the city center. It avoids it entirely and just sends you on a trip on this ring, and then you have a series of what are called service interchanges that allow you to get on and off the highway. And I think that's beautiful. So I say this in every other video. A system interchange is for connecting one highway to another. That's where you see spaghetti, one freeway to another, etc. And then service interchanges are where you actually enter and exit the highway, like in this example here, this partial cloverleaf with presumably rail or metro going in between it. Beautiful stuff. So don't assume that the ring road is just for U.S. car-centric design. It is not. It is a feature of many non-car-centric places that favor transit, bikeability, and walkability. So let's bring all of that knowledge back into City Skylines, as this is a City Skylines channel, right? So what does that mean for your city? What I think it really means is it's an opportunity to remove the initial highway. If you're playing with infinite money, then great, this will be easy. But if you're building with the initial highway system in mind, you're probably going to have to wait till you've banked a few bucks to pull this off. Odds are extremely high that your city started something like this, with this kind of, funky interchange that the game gives you, and then it spits the highway out, and you build your industrial and your residential, or vice versa, and you expand, and then you add another interchange and another interchange. Are any of you feeling attacked right now that your city is a string of interchanges along the highway and then houses on both sides? I live in a place like that too, so that's not to say that you can't build that way, but what I'm advocating actually looks a bit more like this. So here is the concept come to fruition. This is smaller than what I'd generally recommend, but that's really dependent on how large your downtown or your city center or city core ends up being, so adjust accordingly. But really what I'm doing here is I'm trying to exemplify what I'm going to dub the Amsterdam method, where you have your major motorways coming in and they terminate at your ring road. At that point, as we discussed earlier, cars have to decide, are they going left to try to enter the city this way? Are they trying to continue along the highway for the dummy traffic that's just going across the map and not even going to enter the city? It's great for deterring them, but mainly we're removing the direct routes into the city center so that we don't have cross traffic muddying things up, as the default city start would encourage you to do, in a sense. So this opens up a bunch of opportunities. You can replace this what used to be a highway entrance into the city with a smaller road, or better yet, you can add ample train access. So intercity trains or airports, things like that, big, large-scale transit operations can then become a more direct route into your city. And then with policies like, I believe it's free public transit, ridership will skyrocket and people will stop using their cars so frequently. Additionally, I want to point out I'm using a system interchange here. This is that vanilla, kind of funny-looking interchange, that vanilla system interchange. And I'm using service interchanges here. These don't come with the game. This is my B Parklow. You can build this yourself in the base game if you have to. It won't look like this, but you can build service interchanges in probably a diamond format is what I would recommend. I have a previous video going over diamond interchanges, but build like a diamond service interchange for suburban access outside of your city core, or farm access or industrial access. Like this is ripe for, as I said, suburban stuff or industrial stuff. You can also add service interchanges off of these larger highway legs, and then they will have ample access to and from the city via truck to supply your stores, your shopping, etc. Or you can have a cargo train that terminates out here. Or better yet, again, have a cargo train for your industrial area that then has a corresponding cargo station within your city limits, or 2 or 3, depending on how large the city is, so that traffic is reduced on the highway and cargo is instead shipped by train, which then turns into trucks in the city center and stays off your highway entirely. The function that really makes this work in City Skylines, earlier I mentioned magnet, right? This road acts as a magnet for all of the major through traffic. The way that really works in City Skylines is done using speed limits. So the way that pathing is calculated in City Skylines is cars will always take the fastest route. Notice I'm saying fastest, not shortest. I see this spoke about improperly all the time. People think that it is the shortest route. It is often the shortest route, but really it's the fastest. So this road, the highway here, the freeway, is 60 miles per hour, US, right? The lesser roads here are 35. So as this 6-lane road goes into your city, it's that default 35 miles per hour or such and such kilometers per hour, much less than that of the highway. This acts as a magnet to all of the through traffic, or traffic that's trying to get around your city. That keeps them on the shortest path. As long as this route is shorter than the route that you deny them through the city, the route that may or may not exist, then they will keep to the highway. So like the likelihood of them getting off at this interchange on the right side and then coming across to this interchange here to get back on the highway is pretty slim, as that's quite a distance, the distance from here to here going 35 miles per hour. Even less so if you're using smaller roads. So all of the small local roads that this city would feature, if it were actually built, there would be local roads everywhere, which would be further deterring to through traffic and trucks and things like that. So just some ideas. This is not a replacement for good transit. This is to further separate your highway network from your transit, effectively is what I would call it, which ultimately makes the train more desirable. I'd rather take a train into this city than drive a car, which is true in real life too. I'm trying to drive to the metro station and park my car. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to me talk about ring roads for the last few minutes here. It's a great method that I don't see employed very much in City Skylines. So I really want to see people try to get away from that regular city start. So save up some money. If you're playing with infinite money, then who cares? Maybe even doctor up the map before you begin to support this highway system. Or you can develop your city naturally and start with small roads and then create a single bypass, and then you'll need a second bypass, and then that becomes a connection for other roads. This just opens up all kinds of options, in my opinion. I would love to see this idea really take off better in the Cities Skylines world. Everyone, thanks for listening. I've been Yumble. I'll see you in the next stream or the next video.